Hello. Welcome, guys.
Welcome to Cat Nat Unfiltered live podcast.
Yes.
Welcome to our show. You know, Kat and I were recently it was like 2 weeks ago, Kat walked into the living room because we like to start our days just like before we record, before we do any of our work stuff, we just debrief about life. And Kat came in and was just like, she mentioned something that happened with her body.
Huh?
And she goes to me, she's like, did anybody tell you that? Did anybody tell you that was going to happen? And then I was just like, I feel like nobody really, maybe people mention it. There's a lot of things they don't talk about. But it's like, until it actually happens to you, you don't really like know what it's going to feel like.
Or you think you're the only one who's
Yes.
experiencing it. So then you're like, oh, I'm just going to carry on and just pretend everything is normal here and that this is just going to go away.
Yes. And not everybody always has like someone that they can talk to about it, but also a lot of things that happen to a woman as, you know, as we age, after we have babies, can kind of feel like it's embarrassing. And what we do in life and on our podcast with our brand is we talk about everything. So like we are pretty like easygoing and we know that we have each other no matter.
You know, when you talk about secret things, or not, it shouldn't be secret things. When you talk about things that people don't talk about, when they come up to you and they whisper to you that they listen to your podcast. I listen to your podcast. And you're like, why are you whispering?
And then when people come up to us, it's also like, they'll say like, no one had ever said this before. And when you said it, I finally felt like I wasn't the only one. And now I can talk about it with my friends too.
Yep. You sure can.
I know. But I mean, we can do it because we have each other.
I think that's huge. I think that's really huge that a lot of people, even your closest friends and your closest family, you don't really want to talk about everything. And it's like, you're not sure.
I didn't know anything about like bladder leakage before. Like I thought people would joke about it.
Yeah.
And you'd see commercials about it and you'd be like, oh my gosh.
But they'd never address it. It was like a secret. It was just like a tiny like run by. Like it was just like, oh, and if you do this, and then it was like secret. It was actually built on secrecy, a lot of it.
Yeah. And then I feel like the only people I thought were supposed to have it were like senior citizens, like only old people.
Right.
So then when it's happening to like people our age and stuff like that, you're like, oh my gosh.
You think it's just because you're laughing and it's so funny.
Or you at first, but then when it happens to you, you're like, wait. And then the first time you think, oh, that was just a one-time thing. And then it happens again, whether you're sneezing, walking, jumping. And then you're like, wait, this is happening regularly, that it's like, I'm peeing a lot.
Yeah. So, okay. So lots of people talk about this conversation in passing or as jokes on the internet. That when you become a mom or something happens, this just happens secretly, but no one tells you until they tell you, until it happens to you. And then you're like, pardon?
Yeah. And what we love to do, obviously, with our community is reach out to you guys, because we always say it shouldn't be embarrassing. And we're really trying to like break down all the crazy things that happen to your body and make it normal, because it should be. But things are anonymous when you come into our DMs. And we did actually ask you guys a question of like things that nobody told you about with a woman's body or aging or all of that stuff. And so we have some of your answers. What did you say, people?
It's like secret confessions that aren't so secret.
Mm-hmm. Nobody told you that your eyesight was going to get worse even after you had LASIK.
I pee while doing anything: jogging, running, laughing, stretching, coughing, walking.
Wow.
I pee my pants doing jumping jacks. I know, because when I go to the gym, a lot of people can't jump. They do like the step out. That's very common, especially when you work out. Very, very common. Hot flashes.
Leaky gut. That one makes me laugh. You know, the one thing about working out is that when I would have a little bit of a leak, I was so sweaty that I felt like someone would just think it was sweat. So it was okay. Everything was just kind of wet.
I know. And I guess that's why a lot of people wear black leggings.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's like
oh my gosh, I would never wear a colored legging that would show wetness.
Right.
When I'm working out.
Another one was you pretty much just pee your pants all the time. There's so much pee on here. I can't. That is, you know what's so comforting is that, I mean, out of the submissions, and I put this up late last night. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's like so many submissions on just peeing alone. And any activity can make you pee. I would fully pee myself multiple times a day, and I'm back in diapers at 39. Yeah, no, all of these submissions. Y'all, here's the thing. You're really this is something a lot of people, what do I say? Like a lot of people feel, obviously,
Yes.
if they're talking about it. And I think so many times you'll hear multiple times on this podcast where now it's like, I'm just going to ignore it until it's not a thing anymore. That's your new line. I'm just going to ignore this until it's like over. Like, I'm just going to like, and I'm like, oh, you're in denial, girl. You're in full denial that there is.
Things are changing. Things are changing. And, like we said, we laugh about it a lot, but I will tell, well, I've got a few stories. But this one time we were backstage and we were doing like a TikTok trend. And, we got a lot of people backstage and everything. And I think I had to like maybe fly you or something like that.
We're just trying to do a dress up, but I had to get you on the floor.
Why?
Because I couldn't do it up. So you and me often like have to lie each other down because our dresses are so ridiculous that you and I just squeeze each other into things.
Yeah.
And listen, when you get older, Nat never knew that when you eat salt, sometimes you get a little puffier. And she was like, no, I don't do that. I'm like, listen, you puff and depuff based on what you eat, whether you flew, how much water you drank. And so we tested the method when we put a dress on that was supposed to fit. And
so I peed a little
because it was so funny, but
it wasn't
you were
even
lying down on your stomach too.
At that pee wasn't even because I was laughing. It just like I stood up and it just peed. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I peed a little. And I was like,
we carried on.
But then Kat saw and she was like, actually, it's more than a little. I can see it through your Spanx. And I literally was like, when you get your Spanx on, you get your dress on, all that. I am going on stage with this pee. Like, I'm not.
Oh yeah, it's like putting a baby in a baby Bjorn.
Yeah.
Like when
Once
you put
it's
that, you're just staying. Like it or a snowsuit. Like,
yes.
I'm sorry, we're just going. We're gonna roll with this.
Yeah. And I was like, so I do that. I've done that a lot. And honestly, like the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, it's like so many women are walking around with a little bit of pee in their pants. But what I also didn't realize is that, okay, so there is so many things that people do to like make it so you don't like leak through your underwear and your pants.
Yeah.
So
like tie a sweater around your waist.
Oh, you just did that. In the airport, Kat just had to do that. I was
like, oh my God, it's wet.
So she was like, it's a bit of pee. I'm like, oh, we're not changing. We're in the airport. Suitcase is closed. One thing that I would do is like take Kleenex, like toilet paper, and put it in there, like make a little pad.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is when that gets wet and the little pieces of
No.
toilet paper all break apart.
No.
People also, I think I won't wear particular colored clothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like working out.
Like or ever.
Yeah. Light jeans.
Also, some people like literally will like not leave the house for too long because they know that they'll have to like change their underwear and their pants.
Yeah.
Which should never be a thing, especially if it's normal. And a lot of people are like, I don't want to wear like a period pad because period pad, it's like you're sort of sitting in the pee. It doesn't really absorb the same.
Yeah.
And the bladder leakage, actually, the pads, they absorb differently. Like blood is thicker than water. Blood is thicker than pee.
Is that where that comes from?
No, definitely not.
Oh, because like, wow.
But
blood is thicker than your pee.
Yeah. What is it? Blood is thicker than water?
Yeah.
So pee is water, kind of, right?
I mean,
whatever. It's thinner.
It's a fluid.
Yeah. So the way that a period pad absorbs blood is very differently than how you want your pee to be absorbed, right? Because it's just
Nat's giving us a solution right now to a very common problem, and it's called poise. And I'm not sure why we can't openly just say it. That
we can.
Yeah,
we can.
poise. I mean, for all of us, there's things built just for that situation, rather than having to look at all the things. And I'm not sure why. It's sort of like debunking the myth around everything. It's like once you normalize it, then people can be like, oh, it's no big deal. I can go and do this. It's sort of like, oh, I have support in this area where I can go and not feel uncomfortable. I can wear my colored jeans. I can wear those pants that I want to wear.
I can go to a workout class. I can jump on the trampoline. Just don't like hurt your back. That happened to me on the trampoline. But it's and I also used to think that the bladder leakage pads were like really thick.
Yeah,
because you just feel like it always looked that way.
I know.
But the Poise ultra thin pads are so thin and they absorb a lot more like liquid, and it absorbs so that you're not like sitting in moisture. Like
I know.
So
I wonder what the what the barrier is for people. Like what is why would someone not? It's sort of like is it like the buying of it?
because
You go online.
you'll wear a pad
I
for your
know,
period.
I
So why
know.
wouldn't you wear? I think it's like, yeah, I think it's, and also like, even when you were young and you like looked at them in the grocery store, you're like, oh my God, like diapers. But like, exactly, if it's something that happens and it's normal and it's common, then we should all just be able to pick them up at the store and buy them.
You should just be able to, because
Mhm.
also, I mean, I think there's still a lot of not fear, but like shame or embarrassment, which is too bad, because maybe though when people talk about it, they know. But even after I had a baby, it felt like everything was so weak. Like it actually, it almost hurt to sit down. So it was like everything was numb. And I don't know if that's from my C-section. I don't know what that was, but I definitely felt like everything was numb, and it took a long time for me to get the cues back in my bladder. So it was not surprising that I didn't. It should not have been surprising, but no one told me that after the baby, this might be something that happens, right? And it's not just about the other fluids. It's really about just knowing that this can be a while until you can feel again and understand what's going back down there, because I mean, having kids is so major. It's so freaking major. Aging is so major. And if we just don't talk about it, then it's like we sit here on these like secrets, and there doesn't have to be secrets around what our bodies do. Like it's like
Excuse you.
If our body does it, if your body does it, a million other people's bodies, whether it's like hair on the back of your legs, whether it's, hair on your ankles that don't grow anywhere else. They're just like, giant, like thick, like ankle hair. It happens.
Yes.
And everyone's like, doesn't happen to me.
When I moved to Vancouver for a year, I was nervous. I didn't have like any friends. I didn't know anybody, but having kids is a really great way to make friends. And I ended up getting included in this mom group. And one of the women was very open about what had happened to her body, specifically about bladder leakage.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the moms or someone saying, well, if you have a C-section, do you not have that problem? And I ended up realizing she was really versed in it, because she was also a journalist, and she wrote a lot about like stuff, and she wasn't afraid to talk about it. And it's not from the birth that potentially gives you the bladder leakage.
No,
it's the pressure of the 9 months on your bladder that can weaken it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
It's from the whole shenanigans.
The whole
shenanigans. I had an 11-pound baby. What do you think was going to happen down there? Like literally, what did we think was going to happen down there? I mean,
everything was just going to be the same. No,
I don't know if this is medically allowed to say, but I also, with the urgency that my pee comes on, like it's no longer I feel like a toddler. I'm like, and if
I gotta go.
No, it is. I am like. Is that a thing for aging too? I feel like that's a thing for aging. Like the urgency of it, from going from like a little bit to going to like, oh my God, this is happening right now. And if you're out at a park, I mean, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing, because something's coming out, because it feels so full.
I know. And we're always just trying to like talk about things so it makes it easier for other people to talk about it too. So
funny, because there's someone really famous right now who's pregnant.
Yeah.
And the headline on all the news talk shows are like her face saying, who was going to tell me about? And I was like, oh girl. I was like, girl,
give us
girl.
a call.
I mean, it's I really don't want to say how terrible like motherhood is, or like this process, because I think that there's nothing terrible about it. It's just knowing your options. And so often nobody knows their options. And if you don't talk about it, you don't know your options. So I think there's so many different routes people can go and turn to. But if you are young and it's not the stigma of being older, like just a senior citizen issue, there's no one to really turn to and be like, oh, you do that too. That's great to know. You know what I mean? And so when someone so famous comes out and says that one little thing, I can't imagine the other things that are going to be like walloped in her, because I guarantee there's a lot of famous people who have struggled with women's issues.
Yes, of course.
Because I can't talk to men, because I don't know men. And men, I don't know if they're ever going to talk.
Not a man.
Like, I'm not sure men are going to talk much about anything. Like, I'm not sure if there's going to be like a forerunner of the man who's
Yeah.
like, hey, this happens to me.
Yeah.
We'll be it for you. You know, we'll talk about everything.
We will.
I mean, it's no shocker. It happens.
Yeah.
It happens to 50% of the population
Yes.
at some point, some woman issue.
And we've learned that with like just like motherhood in all of our community is that in the beginning you think things are your own little secret, but the more we talk about it, the more we normalize it.
So you are in denial. How do we get out of that place where we think, where we can be like, okay, this is a thing. What is this denial about?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I love it. She's still in it.
I mean, you know what? Maybe in the beginning, I probably didn't talk about bladder leakage, and now I can. So it's just time. It's time, maturity,
Maturity.
And also we even think about like our parents' generation, like they didn't talk about anything, let alone talk about peeing your pants. Like no.
Yeah.
So
I think there's also something to note that anything that goes on down there is a lot of people can't share, like bladder leakage versus like if you're like, I actually don't pee my pants, so it's fine, but bladder leakage versus peeing your pants, like they're all different levels. Like some people are going to full on, as Nat mentioned before, have a full, a full letdown, and others are going to just have a little sprinkle. But
Yes.
you can deal with the little sprinkle, and the little sprinkle is just as uncomfortable as
Yeah.
arguably more so.
Yes, yeah.
Because it's not enough to change.
Exactly.
It's
It's not enough to change. That's
not,
exactly
it's kind
right.
of like, oh, do I just like carry on?
Yeah.
That's me. I'm like, oh, just tie a sweater.
And yeah,
It's
but
not enough.
there should be no reason why, if you're experiencing bladder leakage, that you shouldn't have a Poise ultra thin pad to feel better and more secure and safer through the day. There's no reason why
add it on the grocery list.
Add it on the grocery list.
Hey,
Mark.
he would have no idea. He literally would just go and like, they are not over.
If it's on the list, they're just not. Get it.
And by the way, no one's looking at your grocery cart.
Mm-mm.
Actually, I do. Just to see what kind of vegetables and fruit you have.
Yeah. And what you're planning on having for dinner.
And snacks. I want to know what kind of snacks you have. I'm not looking at anything else.
Yeah.
I used to think that when you would like go shop for something, everyone's like looking at you like, it's like there's like a red light above your head. No, I'm looking more for like what's in your
What's in your cart?
Yeah, I'm just more curious. What's in your cart? Like, is it
I always feel like people are super cool when they have like, if they had like a fennel bulb in there, or if they have particular herbs. I'm like, oh, they're a cook.
I'll tell you, I walked into my friend's house and she's a doctor, and she had just gone to all the snacks for the
Good
kids.
snacks.
Just like, I was like, oh, thank you. Thank you for showing me that you actually have all the snacks in there,
Yeah.
It made me feel so good.
It's
Massive pounds of the snacks.
Oh, good.
I was like, I love this for us.
Well,
Thank you.
now that she's normalized giving your kids a bunch of treats.
Yeah,
you got to normalize the Poise for her.
Oh my God, I would feel so much more like that
that was on the counter, wouldn't that have been great?
I felt more embarrassed about my snacks than I did about Poise. I mean, come on, you know what I mean?
I know.
That's science. The other one's a choice.
Right. So
I did not choose this for me. This is happening to me.
Yep.
Snacks I have a little bit of choice over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why we put so much effort and thinking into all of these things that consume our mind.
I know. And
I'm not debunking if you do have these feelings. I mean, it's very normal to feel very confused and lost because no one's sitting you down at the breakfast table and being like, so.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's body's different. I think that's really important that everybody's
body
is different and everyone's process is different. And you could have a baby at 22 and this might be something you're dealing with, or you could have a baby at 50 and you don't deal with it. And I don't think it's like I think that's what's confusing. And it could come when you're later. Once someone told me.
What?
I mean, that, men too, when they get older, they have more, that like they have to go much more often.
Okay.
Like it's like a feeling
of
always having to go.
Oh, okay.
So they needed to be like have the bedroom with the bathroom.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, I had no, thank you for telling me. I had no idea that would be a thing.
Yes.
Because if someone's like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom, and you're like, again, like, just sensitive things to say.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you have? Like a UTI? It's just good to know that if we don't talk about it, then we don't know what the barriers about what happens, because what's happening to you might not happen now, but might happen later, was happening
Yeah.
to someone else.
And some people can be super open like us, but some people it's a private thing. But just know that if you're sitting there and you don't want to talk about it and you are private about it, two things. Number one, you're normal. And number two, talk to your daughters about it. Like we gotta go talk to our daughters about it so that when it happens to them, they don't feel crazy. Mm-hmm.
Just so they know.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like, I feel like it's
I think we're going to have to go have a little educational conversation with the kids upstairs.
Hey, everyone.
Help class.
Sit down. It's lunchtime. Going forward, I think that if you do experience anything you're unsure of, I do think it's something. This is what's so crazy is the stages in like your 40 plus years, doctors aren't even sure of what's happening. Right? Like, it really is mind blowing when you think about some of the conversations around perimenopause and around menopause and all of these conversations that people just actually don't know.
They don't know, and the doctors are like not. It's not a focus,
and it's
of
not
education.
forthcoming. Like, it's not like they're coming out and saying, "Okay, here are some things that this might happen, and don't be alarmed." And maybe here's somewhere you can go and get more support or information on. And I feel
the Cat Nat podcast, of course.
Yeah, and I feel like with people and companies like Poise bringing the conversations to the forefront, I feel like it helps normalize and bring people information, and then you can go and help yourself, so you're not just living with like, what the hell? Because I feel like so much of our life right now is like, what the hell is that?
I know.
Like, and then you call your friend and you're like, what the hell?
Yes.
And then they're like, oh yeah, and you're like, wait.
Oh, you're like, thank goodness.
I really just said the other day, why didn't you tell me?
I know.
Why did no one tell me? And you've said the same thing.
Oh my gosh,
and
yes.
There's a few things that have happened recently, and I said that when we look back, that was because of the phase of life we're in, rather than we had no idea. Like, literally no idea.
And you know what the hard thing is that if you're sitting and you feel like embarrassed, or you feel shame, or you feel any of those things, we always say, like, that's a part of your brain that could be used doing way more better things with your brain. Let's just choose one. Fun, right?
Yeah.
If you can solve the problem, or you can fix, or you can help yourself, then you're taking out worry and all of that out of your brain.
I just don't think people know
makes
where
more
to
room.
go to, right? Like, they don't know if you don't know it's a problem, you're confused by what it is.
Right.
And then it's like, why we need to talk. And it's why we need to have the conversations, because there's so many people who are sitting there questioning what's wrong with them. And there is nothing wrong with you. It's just nobody talked about it, so you never knew.
No.
And that's what makes me so sad. And I hope our girls and, boys who have girls in their life understand that it is something that a lot of people deal with. And it's not something that has to sit there and be like, oh gosh, this is shameful or scary. And I mean a lot of different things in our lives that we sit there and we wonder in silence because we're too afraid to open our mouths because we don't think we're quote unquote normal.
Yes.
No one's normal, by the way.
And let's try and get those things out of your head so you can make room for something else, like, I don't know, a hobby, learning something new.
A hobby.
Or having fun.
Jumping on the trampoline.
Going on the trampoline. Careful on the trampoline.
Actually, by the way, that was my kid's favorite thing when I go on the trampoline with them.
I remember, and you're like, I'm going to pee my pants, but let's go.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't. I was I can't go full. I have to empty before I go on. Before I didn't have, like, and
you
I
just
mean,
have to empty the tank first.
like, maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
And then I can bounce.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can feel it, but I was like, doesn't mean it's not going to happen next week. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen a week from now. But I actually haven't jumped in a year or 2 or 3. I should go try that. Oof.
Well, be careful, because I sprained my back jumping on the trampoline.
Did you just pull a muscle or sprain your back, Natalie?
Well, what's his face said I sprained it.
Oh, like you sprained it.
Yeah, it was so painful. He fixed me, though. Physio.
And you'll never do that again?
I mean,
no.
No, I don't think my core is strong enough to support jumping.
Yeah, and you're not doing planks anytime soon.
No.
You're like, so I'm just going to avoid that.
Yeah, I'm just going to avoid those things. Yeah. You know what? As you get older, you got to change some of your routines.
You could do planks, but no.
No, I'm not doing that. No. I mean, not now. Maybe next week.
Maybe next week.
Probably not next week. Maybe next season, year.
If you could do one exercise for your life, what would it be? That you like?
I guess run.
Do you like running?
No, I don't like anything.
Like, you don't like, you like the after of running.
Yes.
But you don't like running.
No, who likes running? You're crazy if you like running. I love it. No, I don't understand you. I have nothing in common with you.
I know. I think about workout instructors too.
They like it. They're crazy.
Do they though?
I think they do.
Because for me, if I stop, it's like I'm not. I appreciate. Oh my God, full circle. I really appreciated when someone came out and said, you know, I don't like working out. When I go and work out, it's just the vacuum. When I go and work out, I'm like, I know I'm going to stop at any time. Like it was someone who was very fit, and like I go through cycles up and down, and like right now I'm in an off cycle.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be picking it up too much.
Yeah. So I was like appreciative of that conversation. I was like, thank you for saying that. Like back to like the whole like when you talk, you alleviate someone's, guilt, shame, feeling different. I really, really appreciated that. I was like, thank you for saying that because I'm the same way. Like I don't love working out, and sometimes I'm on it, and sometimes I'm not on it. That's okay.
So, I think that the other thing is that, finding out who you are, what you need, what can help. And as far as bladder leakage goes,
Yeah,
period pads and Poise ultra thin pads, they're built different.
Yeah.
They're for different reasons.
It's like you wouldn't put a cast on your thumb if your leg was broken. It's a cast.
You're so smart.
But it's not. It's for one's for your leg.
Yep.
One's for your thumb.
Yep. And this is normal, ladies. And we just need to talk about it. We need to not be embarrassed about it. But if you do, that's okay. We'll talk about it for you. But just know there's something that can help you.
Yeah, and it's not. Your life's not over.
It's not doom and gloom. It's not the end of things.
No.
Bodies change. Things change.
Oh my God.
We can carry on.
There's one thing for certain. Your body's going to change.
And there's just something new every day, but we will get through it. And as long as we don't spend too much time feeling bad about it, then we've got room for fun.
So much fun. I hear you get really, really like your sexiest era is in your 50s. Universally.
Oh yeah.
That's your sexiest era.
That reminds me of I feel like Samantha from Sex and the City.
When she was like 45, 50. That's your sexiest. It's like when all of the changes are going, like when you're sort of like comfortable with what you have to do.
Yeah.
This is it. I'm here, baby. I am ready for this next phase of my life. We just have to get through a little bit of a fire first.
Yep. And by the way, if you're experiencing also bladder leakage and you feel unsexy, don't let that. Don't let it. You can still be the hot mama.
Make sure that you can check out Poise anywhere. Thank you to Poise for bringing anywhere you can buy items online in stores. And thank you to Poise for bringing up this conversation because I think so often we don't talk about it. And we're so thankful that this was brought to our attention. And we understand that this is impacting probably a lot of our audience. And if it is, you're not alone. You are totally normal and everything's going to be okay.
You are not alone.
You really are not alone. Happy whatever day you're listening to this on. And make sure you leave 5 stars.